Big day yesterday for New Bedford.
Yeah, it was great. We're thrilled with the outcome, and it's a big win for New Bedford. We've got a long way to go, but
A long way to go. What's the next step?
well, the next step is phase 2 application. It's called. The developer has to get together its financing. It has to do a bunch of environmental and traffic studies, and then the application gets submitted to the Gaming Commission, and from there it goes to a set of hearings, and the Gaming Commission picks either Brockton or New Bedford.
How long away do you think we are from a final decision from the Gaming Commission?
Well, the Gaming Commission about a month ago said that they would like to issue a license before the end of the calendar year. That may be a little ambitious at this point, so it might slip into the early months of 2016.
I'm surprised it's that far away.
Yeah, it's a time-consuming process.
Sure.
It's a big investments, and
the
state statute requires a pretty rigorous review of all these things, and I think that's appropriate. But we're very pleased with the outcome last night. I think it was really a validation of the deal that we fought very hard to achieve with KG Urban. We negotiated in a very determined way to get a deal that softened the downside of casinos and really enhanced the upside, and I think voters saw it that way.
This is kind of a fluffy question, but do we...
I take fluffy questions.
Do we have
not just the hard-hitting ones. I take the fluffy
Yeah,
ones.
this is a soft... Well, I just don't know. You probably don't even have the answer to this yet, but do we have a name for this thing? If this becomes a casino,
that's a good question.
What would the name be?
That's not a fluffy question. That's actually a really, really good one. So the short answer is no, we don't. And I think it's an important thing because this is a facility that will be marketed pretty heavily, and so we want it to reflect well on the city.
So the Michael Rock Casino it is?
Oh, goodness, no.
Go ahead, let it rip.
Now, when all is said and done, let's say, New Bedford and Brockton go head-to-head. New Bedford gets the casino and it's being built, whatever. The timeline that it's going to take for us to actually have a casino where New Bedford residents and people all over the South Coast can actually go in and gamble or do whatever they're going to do at the casino, how long will that take until that can actually happen? Like, what's the timeline?
You already have your roulette number picked out.
Totally.
You're already ready to go. So these things take a couple of years to construct.
Right, yeah.
So we're talking, probably around the beginning of 2018.
Okay.
Sounds like a long way away until we start talking about the Olympics, which is 9 years away, right?
Exactly, right. Yeah, it'll fly by. That'll be here before we know it.
It's been an incredible month here.
Yeah, no, it's been a good run, and look, we've got a team that's working really hard to advance the city's interests, and I believe in our city. I believe better days are ahead, and but we got to work for it, and so that's what you're seeing now is real progress in our efforts.
I was saying yesterday on the air that I don't believe that the city has taken a more important vote in decades than they did yesterday.
Yeah, well, in terms of referenda, yeah, I think that's right. I can't remember one offhand that was probably more important for the city's future. And I think it's important to keep this in perspective. This is a really good opportunity for the city. It's a really good opportunity to establish a facility that has a lot of jobs in a city that has long had elevated unemployment and has had too many people working in jobs that don't pay them enough to support a family. That's really important. It's also important that this will help us accelerate all the things that we're doing very well, the growth of the port, the growth of the downtown industrial park. So this will enable us to reinvest in ourselves. And I think that people have to keep that in mind. The casino itself is a means to an end. It's an important source of jobs. But at the same time, it has to be seen in the broader context of all of our economic development efforts. They can help us move things along, and we shouldn't be able to other things along, and we shouldn't see it as itself an end-all, be-all.
Mr. Mayor, what do you say to people who are worried about the local businesses downtown, that are worried about gambling addictions, that are worried about a spike in the crime rate? What do you say to those people?
Well, those are three different things. I mean, as for the crime rate, the data. So we've studied this stuff up and down, and the crime rates around casinos really don't go up. You think that they would. You think that there'd be all sorts of petty crime and even worse. but it just hasn't borne out. So I'm not terribly concerned about that. Plus, the state will require the state police to set up a unit that's devoted to the casino. So
I did not know that.
Plenty of coverage, yeah.
Okay.
Don't they have tons of cameras in casinos anyway? I mean, you can
which I think people are worried about outside of the casino. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as addiction goes, yeah, there's some increase in addiction in the area right near a casino. When I say near, the neighborhoods near a casino, that can happen. It's not as dramatic as some people have made it out to be, but the state is also providing an awful lot of money to addiction prevention services and treatment services. So I think that risk can be mitigated. As far as the downtown goes, I mean, it was very important to me to strike a deal that protected the downtown. That's why we have caps on the number of hotel rooms and restaurants and retail, so that people end up spilling out of the site. If you have too few, there'll be thousands of people that go to this thing, especially on the weekends in the summertime.
They'll have to go stay somewhere and eat somewhere.
Yeah. They'll have to. There won't be. We limited the number of restaurants, so people will have to leave the place to get a bite to eat if they they go to a restaurant on the site and it's a 2-hour wait. Preserve downtown business. So the only things they can build in the way of shops are just two like convenience store or the kind of gift shops you see in hotels. So we're not setting up a competition with the downtown. We're not building a mall down there.